Ellie.
Got it.
Perfect.
And then will you, I think you have to make me, oh no, never mind. Here it is.
You're good.
All right. Can you guys see it?
Yes, maybe go
Yes.
to the presentation view so we don't see all the slides at the bottom.
There we go. There's animations. I don't know how that happened. But hey guys, so I'm Christine. I moved markets almost 2 years ago now. And when I first got into real estate, I knew, well, one, my husband was active duty military. And so I knew that like a move was going to be inevitable. And I also had always admired kind of like how bloggers and influencers have such a presence online and that they could make money from home. And I just thought, how interesting could that be if we applied that same mindset to real estate content? And instead of just sharing just sold or houses, like we put our personality behind it and really just kind of showcase ourselves and help people not only like fall in love with the house, but like choose to work with us as people individually. And over the years, I've just worked with a few different people. So I will actually link at the very end of this two amazing sources that you guys can, there's a book, and then there is a social media program that I highly, highly, highly recommend. So I did not create all of these concepts. It's just I'm adopting different things that I've learned along the way. Let's see if I could switch the slide. Oh my God, someone drew on it. Did you see that? Okay, we'll just move past.
Oh.
So first, like just getting into the topic of branding, I think there's a lot of confusion when it comes to branding and marketing, and they really are two different things. So I like to say that branding is you. It's how you show up to the party. Someone is drawing images on the screen.
You probably have somebody that hacked into it, Christine.
That's so weird.
I know. Can you see anyone that's not? Maybe we make it private or something. Like, come on, guys, like, get a life.
Yeah, somebody got in.
Can you guys see it? I don't see anything.
I don't see it now, but I was seeing it before, and it's probably because I have it set up for anyone to be able to.
It's like deleting slides and stuff.
I'm only seeing a blue circle. Is that you, Christine?
Can you see the slides?
I see the slides, but then I'm just seeing a blue circle move around.
Cursor.
Oh yeah, that's me. Yeah, I moved.
Oh yeah, I'm not seeing any drawing or anything.
No, I just saw one. I just saw that once.
Okay, we'll keep going and then just ignore the penis on the screen.
Oh my God. The penis in the room.
So back to marketing versus branding. I like to think that branding is like how you show up to the party. It's the dress you wear. It's how your hair is put up. It's the earrings you've got on. It's the personality. It's you. It's who you are. Whereas marketing is the party. Marketing is like the vessel that you get to use to promote this brand of who you are. And so branding it's your name, it's your voice, it's your logo, your fonts, your colors. But branding is a lot more than just logos, fonts, and colors. And so we're going to get into that a little bit more and just go a little bit deeper. But it's also, it's your tagline, it's the expectations that you set for your clients. It's the expectations that you set for your business. It's the promises that you make to your clients. It's all of those things. So it's a really meaningful and impactful thing. And then marketing is this awesome tool that we get to use honestly for free in a lot of places like social media, to then kind of put ourselves at the forefront. A lot of you probably do like photo shoots and you record videos, and all of that is just like a form of bringing that brand to life. I also like to say like a brand photo shoot or a video shoot is like the ultimate merger of a brand and marketing. So getting into the brand side of things and what exactly it is. So I find a brand is more than a logo. It consists of, you've got your brand foundation, and then you have the brand identifiers. And I think a lot of people jump to the brand identifiers because those are the visual components. Those are your brand colors. It's your font and your logo. It's the fun stuff. But if you're not really clear on the foundation, it makes it really hard to be clear and authentic when you're out and promoting yourself. And I think that's when you feel confused about who you are and what your brand is. So your brand foundation, again, it's who you are, it's what you stand for, it's how you want people to feel. It's your mission, it's your vision, it's your values. And then your identifiers are those visual components. So something that's really meaningful, and I learned this from a really good friend of mine, her name's Kelsey Curtis. I have her book linked at the end of this so that you guys can get a copy and hear a lot more in depth of a lot of these topics that I've learned from her. But a strong brand is going to resonate and it's going to connect. And I think a lot of people have heard of there's different terms of going around, like a filter that you run your business through when you're talking about like when you're creating content, right? You do an audit, and whenever you're creating a brand, you might create a Pinterest board, or some people might make a vision board, that sort of thing. Kelsey's concept was creating 5 brand words. And so you choose words that really resonate with you, like who you are. Go out and talk to some of your colleagues, your friends, your family, people that know you, like you, and trust you, and ask them, if you could only choose 3 words to describe me, what would it be? And so Kelsey also offers a branding audit. So she helps me with my brand words, but in her book, she also includes a huge laundry list of different branding words that you can kind of sort through and see which ones resonate with you. For me, my brand words are joy, bold, creative, community, and excellence. And so anytime I'm taking a photo, if I'm posting on social media, if I'm making a Google post, I try to think in the terms of those brand words, and does what I'm about to post fit into those guidelines? And it's essentially your brand menu. They just took over.
No, I'm just going to share your presentation from my screen and stop. So sharing, okay. So maybe it will stop. So I don't know if it will or not, but we're going to give it a shot.
Because I think if they've hacked, they're on the back end.
Okay.
Here we are. Okay.
Just tell me when it's time to go to the next slide.
Yeah, I will. So essentially your branding words, that is your brand menu. And so you're going to pull components of your personality. I remember, getting into real estate or going through the branding process, and I feel like I signed up for every webinar and like any workbook you could download online, trying to figure out what resonated for me. And they would always ask, well, what makes you different? What is your niche? And it's like, those are important things. But I find when someone asks me, what makes you different? I literally start comparing myself, and I'm just like, I have red hair. Like I just try to like find anything that makes me different. But essentially I'm comparing myself. And what Kelsey actually helped me in her book is such a great tool. But she helps identify like what actually makes you you, and leaning into those things. So when you're creating your brand menu, when you're creating this brand foundation of what makes you you, leaning into yourself. So for me, I am a US Navy veteran spouse. I'm a Madison transplant. I didn't grow up here. I'm not going to be a 5th generation Madisonian, but I can really help relocation clients because I've been through it myself. I'm a 1st generation college graduate. My mom is an immigrant. I'm a dog mom. I'm a foodie. I love wine, shopping. I love Bravo, reality TV. It's like all of these things, I feel like sometimes we are scared to share because, like, for instance, Bravo, it's, a cheesy reality TV show. And sometimes I think we feel like that's not going to connect, or I'm not going to be seen as professional. And that's not the case at all, because when you start to share those like real life things, people really resonate with you. And I have clients now that have found me on Instagram, and we're always messaging back and forth about the Real Housewives, or they just joined a pickleball league, or we're talking about our dogs and all of those things. So I think a really good exercise for people are to figure out, like, sit down and figure out what are those connection points. What is it that makes you special? Are you, oh my gosh. Karina, should we just like,
Let's just ignore this idiot and move
Okay.
on.
okay. So like if I was a runner, or if I had kids, I would be pimping these children out. I would be at every school function. I would be, really leaning into that and like showcasing that on my social media and connecting with other parents and hosting mommy events and all of that sort of thing. I don't have kids, I have dogs. So like I lean in the other direction. But if I was a runner, you can always incorporate these things and then sprinkle that throughout your brand, include it in your website, include it on your social media page, include it in your Google page, all of these things, because that's where people are going to connect with you most. Any questions or anything so far? No. And then the other thing too is just keeping in mind, we are in the people business. People connect with people. They don't connect to a logo. They're not going to connect to, I don't know, your house that's just sold or for sale. I think, care a lot about our numbers. I think the general consumers don't really understand what those numbers mean when we talk about gross commission or volume. I think they think that we actually like make $10 million a year or whatever the numbers are. And so when you approach your marketing from that internal brand side and like really just focus on connecting with people, and of course sprinkle in the business side of things too, throw in a Google review, throw in those just sold, because that just gives leverage and just gives you like social credit. It gives you the credibility that you are a great realtor. Here's the proof. But also, I'm also a person. And so as you're working through that list, you're going to, I think a lot of people focus and get worried about, I know I did at first, was like, oh my God, I'm going to repel someone. When I was leaning into my brand colors, I have a lot of pink on my website and just bright purples and fun colors. I was so worried that I was going to repel people who wouldn't want to work with me. Like maybe there would be I don't know, like a man that would just be not willing to work with me. And then I realized, well, that's not my ideal client anyway. I would rather his wife reach out to me personally. And so once I leaned into it, I've actually had more people say that they chose me because of my brand. They liked the way I showed up online. So don't be afraid to repel people. That's part of the process. And whenever you sit down and you make your list, Kelsey has a really great exercise in her book about.
I already want to click off. I already want to get this shit off.
Whenever you sit down with the exercise in Kelsey's book, she's got a really great exercise in the book, and it's you make your attract list and your repel list. And whenever you're working through that, it's who do I want to work with? What does that person look like? It's so easy to imagine those amazing clients that we work with, and we just want to literally duplicate them and clone them if we could. And then also it's extremely easy, in my opinion, at least, to figure out who we don't want to work with. And those are the people we want to repel. The people who don't trust us, the people who question us every step of the way, the people who scream at us on the phone, right? Like when you are really clear at who you want to attract and who you don't want to attract, it takes the fear of people not accepting you kind of out of it. And now you're coming from a place of service. I'm showing up so that everyone who is going to connect with me can also resonate. And maybe I'm helping someone today. Maybe someone's going to connect with me, and this is going to help get them to the next point in their journey. Next slide, Karina.
Oops. I'm gonna freak the fuck out.
Did I go too far? Let me see.
Yeah,
Somebody ask
sorry.
a real question.
Okay.
Can you kick out Rose Will?
I was just gonna say that, and Luke and Jake Wood
Yeah, those ones.
and Rose
Rose Zeep.
Zeep. Well, they have a bunch of profiles.
Yeah, I'm
Can
working
you imagine
on
if
them.
this was your life and you like sat behind a computer and
Mhm. Yeah, Jake Wood, Luke Wood. Okay, anyways, moving on. This is awesome.
well, thank you.
You're doing so good, Christine. I'm
Thank you.
loving
I'm
this.
trying not to get distracted. It's just hard with the
No.
phone.
No,
You're
that's
doing
hard, but you're
great.
doing great.
So then getting into, so we talked about the attracting and the repelling, and now going in a little bit deeper and creating that brand messaging audit. So now you've got your brand words, you have your 5 descriptors that really describe who you are, how you present yourself to your clients. You know now who is your ideal client, you know who you're trying to attract, you know who you don't want to attract. And then as I go through and create content, I'm always thinking of these things in the back of my mind. And it's, does this content serve my ideal client? I try, anytime I'm posting something, I want to make sure it's going to connect with my ideal person, the person that I want to work with, right? If I'm offering a tip, are they going to find it useful? So number 1, would I follow me? Would I want to work with me? Number 2, is this useful information and engaging to my ideal client? Is there a clear call to action? I think that a lot of the time we post and we forget that social media is really just the cocktail party. It's where we get to be social and engage with other people. Karina, the slides went away.
Oh, so sorry. Ah, give me a second. I will find them.
But when we engage with people, I forgot where I was at now.
I will get you there. Sorry.
No,
I
you're
was
good.
trying to look up
I
to
was
see
trying
if
to
someone was a
continue,
real
but
person.
Since she's looking for it, so I'm loving this because my brand is so confusing.
back
But
one more, Karina.
you're talking about staying like the content serving your ideal person. Does it add value? Always sort of staying true to your brand, I guess, like who you
Mhm.
are, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
It is very confusing. This is fabulous. Keep going. Sorry.
Oh, good. So is there a clear call to action? So I think a lot of the time we post, even like Kim is a YouTube, I admire her YouTube so much. If you guys don't follow Kim Devlin, go check out her YouTube. I think she does an incredible job. There's always a clear call to action. She's always providing service. She's got a relocation guide linked at the top of her YouTube. And I think the same thing is true when we're creating our Google page and our website and our social media. You want to always be providing service. We're not just showing up to show up. We're showing up to connect, and we're also showing up to provide service and create that call to action because we're not just trying to be social, right? Like at the end of the day, we need to transact. And so the way to do that is providing clear call to actions. In your Instagram bio, when I talk about social media, I'm primarily talking about Instagram. That's kind of where I show up the most. That's where my clients tend to come from. There's links where you can create a like milkshake page or a link tree and link to multiple different products. You can offer free guides, a relocation guide, a home buyer guide. There's so many different options. And so all of those are going to create your email funnels. They're going to just give you additional touch points with these people. And the other thing that's really huge for me is, does this content pass my branding words? Is the content positive? Is it solution focused? Is it inviting? And is it inclusive? There's a lot of accounts out there that have like really funny memes. And I think those speak a lot to us as agents. And they're, honestly, I find it hilarious. But if I shared that all day long, I don't feel like it's going to make my clients feel positive about the real estate market. I think we get to be the mayor of our town. And so when we show up positive on social media, it makes people feel like excited to be a part of it. They're not afraid to jump into the real estate market. I remember in 2020 when COVID was happening, I was really good friends with this agent in Florida, and she's huge on social media. And I just remember thinking, like, how is she not addressing COVID? Like, how is she not freaked out right now? And so she and I hopped on a Zoom and we were just talking, and she's like, I'm scared, but like, if I'm scared, then I'm scaring everyone else. So I'm going to continue to see, it's Stevie actually, and she just commented. But Stevie Hahn out in Jacksonville, super sweet, always been very collaborative. And she was like, if I am scared and if I show up that way, I'm only going to scare my audience. And people need to move. People need to make these life altering decisions. And we have to be their rock. We can't let our fears and our emotions get in the way of that. And then this other one is number 5 is like so big. Is my location clearly available and am I positioned as an expert? Everyone should go and audit all of your accounts. Is your location really clear? If someone goes to your profile and I'm looking for an agent in South Dakota, it's so helpful whenever the location is in your bio, very clearly available. And that if I tap on a link, I can find your contact information super quickly. There have definitely been times where I wanted to connect with someone, but I had to search for so long that they definitely missed a referral opportunity. Karina, could you actually go back one slide? I think we jumped.
I realized that. I was like, we skipped one.
But that's fine. It all works kind of hand in hand.
Is that right?
Any questions before I jump into this next one? Because I feel like I'm talking a lot. So I mentioned the brand words, and let me minimize this. I mentioned your brand words. And I think when you think of your brand and the foundation of your brand, there's going to be this spectrum. And I found this online when I was just trying to find inspiration for putting this together. And it's some people are going to lean really friendly. Some people are going to lean really formal. Some people are going to lean really quirky versus conventional, modern, classic, fun, functional. You're not always going to be on one end of the spectrum or the other. Sometimes you might be right in the middle. But I find if you can choose sometimes these contrasting words and find where you lie in between them, it can help pinpoint where you are and like who your brand is. Thinking through some of your personality traits, bold, calm. Are you casual? I love calm people. I'm just not a naturally calm person. And I just find there are some people who are so grounded, and when they talk slow, and oh my God, I could just like hug them and like wrap myself in them when I'm stressed out. But that's not who I am. And if I tried to pretend that it was, you would spot it in an instant. So I think calm people drink. Yes, definitely. Are you super conservative? Are you far more progressive? Are you cool? Are you, delightful, easy, efficient? I'm not going to read all of these words, but it's super helpful. I think, screenshot the slide or just Google brand words, get Kelsey's book. She's got a huge list in there that's very helpful. But for me, again, it's creative. It's community. Community is really important to me, especially not being from where I'm working and living, creating that sense of community. And then I can identify so easily with my clients who are relocating here because they're looking for that sense of community. I can connect them into the community. It's also really easy to show up on social media when you're showcasing your community and you're building up local businesses and other people in the community. And then they want to build you up back in return because you've built this trust and this relationship. Excellence. I want people to know that, yes, I'm fun and we're going to have a great time, but I'm also really professional and you're going to be taken great care of, but we're also going to have a little bit of fun. And I'm not afraid to get a little spicy if I need to. I
have a question. Was there like exercises that you went through to identify these, or was it just kind of marinating on each one?
Yeah. So I took Kelsey's branding audit, probably, I think it was 2019. So it's been a few years. I know she's adopted it since. In her book, though, she does work through this exercise with you. So if you don't want to splurge for however many $100 it'll cost for the branding audit, her book's a great place to start. I'm literally pimping out her book today, but it's really good and it's super helpful. And it's honestly the backbone of like my foundation. And then also I'll get into Modern Agent Social Club in a little bit because she speaks really, really positively on this. Kelsey Curtis, Kurtis. That's her last name. But in the branding audit, she went through this questionnaire, and through that, she then, kind of analyzed the questionnaire and then helped you come up with the words that resonate most with you and your brand. Honestly, I think you could use ChatGPT. You could totally like ask it, hey, I want you to ask me 50 questions or 20 questions or however many questions. Help me decide what are my branding words. How can, I'm not great with the prompts, but I think that could even be a free tool that you could use.
Christine,
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, I just copied and pasted all of my reviews from Google, my 5-star reviews, and asked
Yes.
ChatGPT to identify any recurring themes and produce a bullet point list. And of course, that won't have all of the personality traits, but it will have your business ones like conscientious, problem solver or whatever.
Yeah. No, I saw your post in the community page and I thought that was brilliant. I remember they touched on it at one of the conferences and I just thought, you forget about those things, but I think that's a good idea.
It wasn't my idea.
No, but it's brilliant. It's so smart that you actually, took their advice and did it. So that's another great place to start. Next, moving out of the foundation and getting into the identifiers. I'm also in this place of I'm kind of ready for a rebrand, just a slight one. And for me, I have to find inspiration online. And I kind of want to change my color slightly, not so drastic, but my foundation is still very much the same. And so I've been looking at Pinterest and trying to get really clear on what that is. Something to consider is that all colors have meaning. There is a psychology behind colors. And so I just grabbed some of these charts from online, but red is love and energy and passion, anger, strength, orange is health. It's you stand out, thirst, wealth. Some of these meanings, I don't know where they come from, but there's a lot of overlap. So there must be some truth to it. Kelsey gets into, I don't know if she gets into it in her book. I think she does. I didn't finish some of it, but I think she goes into a lot of the psychology behind colors too. She does a lot of work with that. And so when you pinpoint colors that have meaning to you, building your palette around those colors, you don't have to just be pink or you don't have to be these crazy bright colors. There's so many different colors to choose from. And just keeping that in mind that there will be some feeling associated when those colors are put forth. And then same thing with Pinterest. If you're not ready to splurge for a full rebrand and you just kind of want to, maybe you're trying to update your fonts or you're trying to create a similar palette, but not deviate too far. Pinterest is a really great tool. You could just search Pinterest brand color palettes or brand font combinations. So many things come up and you can literally buy those fonts online. Canva has a ton of fonts. You can search Canva Pro font combinations. So then that way you don't have to actually go purchase fonts. But fonts are actually pretty affordable. I want to say it's $20 and then you own the font if it is a premium font. And you are going to get so much more variety when you do own the font. And it's also you're going to differentiate yourself from everyone else. So pros and cons, but just another helpful tool. Oh, go back one. There we go. I'm going to touch on planning for a branding photo shoot and shooting for reels and capturing that B-roll and kind of combining all of these components, because I think many of us have taken, I know my first brand photo shoot, I was just I need photos. I think this is what I want to do. I just went out in the community and we got some photos. And it wasn't until I got those photos back that I realized, okay, I need to do a branding audit because my photos were kind of all over the place. I felt different in each location. I was in some dark and moody coffee shop and I was like, oh, that's really cool, but that's just totally not me. And then there was some of me in front of this colorful mural and I was wearing a pink blazer and I was like, oh, those really feel natural. So I think I kind of wasted some of my money on that photo shoot because a lot of those photos didn't really resonate, I think, the way that they could have, but you live and you learn. So you take your brand foundation plus your brand identifiers, those visuals, plus those connection points that make you different. I think it's so important. You'll get the most bang for your buck whenever you have a photo shoot and you're incorporating those connection points. So if you're a runner, bring your shoes, bring a workout set and quickly change in the car, snap some photos working out in the park or running or outside of your favorite gym. If you're a part of the PTA, capture some photos near the school, incorporate your community, incorporate the components that people are going to know you for in the community, ways that people can connect with you. For me, majority of my photos, I'm like throwing popcorn, I'm drinking wine. There's some I have now that I'm like watching TV. And it's ways for people to connect with you. And I find the more interesting your photos are, the more people actually want to engage with you. And I think the same is true for when you for B-roll. You set up your tripod. You don't have to spend a ton of money on photos. Set up a tripod. Our iPhones are so capable. Capture B-roll of you doing things that people connect with. If you're working on sending out your holiday postcard, share your postcard and then just have it do a time lapse of you creating, those postcards for your people. Throw that into a reel and post it. Those that take the less time, I swear to God, perform the best. The ones I spend so much time editing, I get no engagement. It's so frustrating. Someone had a really good question about Remax. Lizette, I work for Remax, which is branded red, white, and blue. Does it make sense to stick with my company colors? Okay, so Lizette, I'm actually with Remax too. And I don't use the red, white, and blue. It just doesn't work. There is like a white version of their Remax logo. There's a gray version that is brand approved. And I love including Remax on my folder. So like if I'm meeting with a client, I'm going to have a white folder. I'll have my Remax brand because we have a really great community presence here. In my community, everyone knows who Remax is. I don't have to explain, it's a real estate company or anything. And so I will include that on the outside, but then when they open it up, all of the goodness and the fun and the creative stuff, that's going to all be like my fun brand colors. So there's a way that you can incorporate, you can kind of work with everything. I think it's really important for us as agents to actually differentiate ourselves from our brokerage. If you're going to live and die with the same company, I think that's amazing. Realistically, I think knowing that I was going to be moving a lot, I didn't want to tie myself up too much into my brokerage because I knew that there was a chance it wouldn't be in another location. I was with a different brokerage than Remax in the beginning. So that's my take on that. Next. So then create consistency. So you've got your brand foundation, you've got your brand visuals. Now go through every SOP of your business. And this takes time. Like, don't put pressure on yourself to like change everything right away. Excuse me. I know that is something that I am far too guilty of. But I think done is better than perfect. And start small and just keep building on it. Once you're clear on your brand and your visuals, throw in those colors onto your YouTube. Take all of those components and incorporate it in your photo shoot. And then now you can use those photos on your website, on your Google page, on your Facebook, on your Zillow page. I mean, think about how many agents show up on Zillow. And I get calls now, even being newer to my market, where people say, oh yeah, I found you on Google. I just like that you kind of stood out from the others. And like my photo has like pink behind me and I'm like laughing. And it's, I think there's an opportunity to stand out and attract and repel your people. But think about like your client services, your buyer consults, your buyer process, your listing process, all of those materials. If you've got your buyer book, again, you can throw in your brokerage as like this cover, and then inside you can still have all of your own personal branding. Think about your messaging, your content, your scripts, your tone, your voice, your personality. I think when you're creating scripts for YouTube is a great example, or when you're talking on Reels, use your own tone. If you're adopting a script from Keeping Current Matters, kind of run it through ChatGPT, or just you take a quick run through it and make sure it sounds like you. Incorporate your colors, your fonts, and then other fun things. Create note cards, create client gifts that really just align with who you are and your brand, and it's going to be so impactful. So these are the two resources I was telling you guys about. So the connection method on the left is Kelsey Curtis. That's her book. This QR code should take you to the Amazon page where you can purchase it if you're interested. And then on the right is Modern Agent Social Club. It is a real estate marketing membership. There are a ton out there. Chelsea Peterson is the founder of the Modern Agent Social Club, and the entire foundation behind her brand and her program is creating a personality infused brand. Her captions and the graphics and the content I find is just really like personality heavy. And part of the process when you join Modern Agent Social Club is you go through each, like a module, you go through like a course on understanding how to use the program. And I think it is a great, great, great resource if you're kind of thinking of changing up your brand. The other thing too is like our brand changes over time. You know, what resonates now, like I hope to have kids in the future. So like I may not be as dog heavy in the future, who knows? But like all those things just change over time. But what it is she provides Canva templates with pre-made graphics that you just drop in your own visuals. You change the colors, you change the font so it looks like you. The captions are pre-written. I literally, copy her captions. I paste it into a Google Doc, and then I change it. I make sure that all of the copy makes sense to my brand. She has a lot of content around like Friends references and that sort of thing. And I've never watched Friends. So like I have to change those because if someone came up to me in public and like made a Friends reference, I would not know what they were talking about. So just like, run it through your brand, your branding words. But these two are really great resources. And recently, I think a few of you guys, I had shared with you the Modern Agent Social Club, and I think you guys have been liking it. And then that's it. Thanks for coming. The QR code there, follow me on Instagram. I'd love to stay and connect with you guys. I feel like that's the best way for me to stay connected with people is following everyone back on Instagram. But any questions?
Christine, I have a question. Are you doing all of your marketing yourself, or do you have help with a VA?
Right now, I'm doing everything myself. I cut back a lot when I moved, but my social media is Modern Agent Social Club. And so the captions are done for me. The posts are done for me. I recycle a lot of what I've done in the past and turn that into like video scripts. But I'm doing a lot myself. And then I plan everything out. I use Planoly, but I'm thinking of switching to Loomly because I can add my Google posts.
Yeah, I use Loomly as well. I like Loomly.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long have you been using the Modern Agent Social Club?
Since late 2018.
Oh, wow. So have you seen a huge difference in your social media having used them?
Yeah, so I was only in real estate a year before I joined, and if you scroll back, those posts still live, and it's terrifying. They're so bad.
Okay.
But I just think Chelsea does a really good job. I'm also a member of Coffee and Contracts, which is another, social media membership. I love Coffee and Contracts as well. I think they do a great job. I just find the personality is a little bit more fun with Chelsea, and it speaks more to who I am.
Okay.
Coffee and Contracts I find is a little bit more like real estate focused. So it's harder for me to infuse my brand without thinking when I use from.
I was with Coffee and Contracts, and I found other people were on it too, and we were sort of posting the same thing, which was kind of weird. So
yeah. And you'll see that there's a huge Modern Agent Social Club presence in Wisconsin specifically because Chelsea lives 30 minutes from me. And so I notice a lot of people in my own community use it. But at the end of the day, the end user, the people we're trying to target, don't necessarily follow every agent like we do.
Okay. Really nice. This is great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Nikki. Hi.
I miss you. So when you're going through some of this, one of the things that I've kind of struggled with and like has held me back from making changes is I feel like I'm already showing up one way online, and to make like a big change or to suddenly look different or to present differently, is that going to like throw off people? So do you, when you're making adjustments and changes in your brand, do you just like one day you're this and the next day you're like, I'm doing this now? Or do you like slow ease into it?
You can do it two different ways. I think if you're clear on where you're moving to, just go for it. Like no one's going to notice that but you. Like people look at your post, and honestly, I think only like 20% of people actually see our posts of, you know, of our followers. I think only 20% of our followers actually see our posts. So people might notice a shift or a change, but as long as you change and then you stay consistent. So like for me, when I do my next brand change, I want to time it. I plan all of my content months ahead. So like I'm starting to work on all of my December content and I'm just going to batch everything. And then I post it in real time. And so if I were going to make a change, now would be a great time to be planning for January or February. So then that way, when I'm planning that content, it all kind of comes out and is more cohesive. And I know what fonts I'm using, what colors I'm using, that sort of thing. So I would like in the beginning, I kind of felt like I was all over the place and I was constantly bouncing between fonts. And then once I chose what I was working with, I just stuck with it. So you could do either way, but.
And with that, the modern social that you were talking about, can you see that far in advance? Like you can look at what does January, February, March look like so you can plan that?
No, so her December content just came out yesterday. So she emails you. There's a Facebook group. So there's also like a really great opportunity for networking and even referrals within the group. Same thing with coffee contracts. But the content comes out toward the end of the month before. So I just know that the content is coming. And so I can adopt it at any point. Because once the content, it lands in your Canva account and all of the fonts are in there, all of her colors are, it's like, it's already done. So I could copy and paste, but I could also just go through each post that I'm going to use and change the fonts. So before I would post in January, I would just know what my fonts were and be ready to adopt it.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Christine, for sharing. This gives me a lot of work that I need to do and stuff to think about. So
I'm glad
it's
our
perfect time of
actors
year though.
Have left.
Yes. All right, everybody.
Thank you so
much.
Thank you.
Hope everybody has a
Thank
good
you.
week.
It's phenomenal.
Thank you.
What works,
Bye.
how to do better work, to do more work, to
you.
get better